The engines on the island are so dull, it'll make the jobs done for all the lost time. Well, nearly all engines, except for one. Duncan, of course, was sulking, because his passengers, of course, and his work never got their job on time. And he likes to rock and roll most of the time as well. Duncan thought he was showing off. "Be very careful," said Rusty. "Someday you're going to cause another accident." "Ah!" said Rusty. "You engines like you have no idea what you're on about, because you're just about as worse than they are." "Well," said Rusty, "maybe one day you'll be about as bad as end up as what happened to Sir Handel." Just then, Scarlowy appeared. "Did you mention Sir Handel?" said Scarlowy. "What happened to him?" "As I was saying, Scarlowy's been away from this railway for a while. Let me tell you the story about what happened to him. It all started a few days ago. Me and Sir Handel were working really hard, and so we had to keep the engines on time. "What an awful thing," said Scarlowy. "There, told you wouldn't get these smelly diesels on time. And that, Sir Handel, must be a waste of time of his work." "No, he's not," said Rusty. "He's just trying his best." "There! I bet the Fat Controller will think that he will just do the most work on time." "Well, let me continue with the story," said Rusty. "He always caught his passengers on time, even though that I just came to remind him what be careful on the main line in case of any dangers on the rails." "Be careful," said Rusty. "I will," said Sir Handel, "and thank you very much. And I hope you'll be very careful when I go along the line." And with that, he always left with a very grating whistle. "Sure. Sure, said Duncan several times. He remembered coming off the rails unexpectedly when he rock and rolled along the line. "Passengers can get very cross if you cause rock and rolls along the line too often," said Rusty. "And what happens next?" said Sir Handel. "And Scarlowy?" "Well," said Rusty, "he always stopped at the signal every time, and this is what he did. Even though he ever gets to stop at the signal, he always knows the rules as well. The signals are important, he said to himself. He knows when it's clear, when it goes up and down, and when it's clear, he always puffs away. And that's what else he had to know about. But that's not all, said Rusty. What else is there? Said Scarlowy. I bet the worst thing that ever happened that he had the most sense to scrap, said Rusty. Let me finish off the story and find out what happens for you two, said Rusty. It all began when he had to take a heavy goods train back. I had to come and remind him to be careful of the danger rails on the track. Be very careful, I said, because the tracks may be very bumpy, and just be careful that the signs may be fogged down. I will, said Sir Handel, and thanks for the warning. And with that, Sir Handel left. Along the head, the weather changed. That's when the trouble began. He got lost on the Lane 9 line. He couldn't even carry on any further. He knew he had to try his best, but it was no good. His driver knew they were heading towards a difficult part of the mine. Oh, said Handel, if I'm not careful, the Fat Controller will be cross. Soon he got to the top of the steep hill. His wheels wouldn't grip. Time after time he kept spinning for wheels. hope the worst will be alright soon, he said. And at last, his wheels hit the rails again. The worst is over now, said Handel. I bet the line will be safe up ahead, said his driver. But it wasn't. He didn't know that the lines of the hub ahead were very bumpy. Look out, said his driver. He applied his brakes, but it was too late. He laid for danger of surprise. His driver jumped clear, but Sir Handel was so depressed. I'll never get this train done now, he said sadly. You're right, said his driver. We must get help. I came along to clear up the mess. Bust my buffers, I said. Don't worry, we'll always get your help. So I came to take the train away and then push Sir Handel back to the yard. Sir Handel was still impressed, until Sir Handel knew he had to go back to the station where Thomas was waiting. I had to greet Sir Handel away as he puffed away with Thomas to the works. And that's what happened to him. Who knows where he'll be now? I feel sorry for him now, said Duncan. I do hope he'll be alright, said Sir Handel. And with that, right now, we'll have to go back to work. Later on, Duncan was pushing trucks into the platform when the Fat Controller arrived. Hello, Sir Duncan, said the Fat Controller. You do look lump. I'm worried about Sir Handel, sir, said Duncan. I've heard he's had to go through be mended after he had an accident. Well, said the Fat Controller, that's why I came to find you. He's alright. He'll be back this afternoon. Really? Said Duncan. Of course he will, said the Fat Controller, and he left. Duncan was excited. Soon, Rusty and Scarlory appeared, just in time to hear everything. What's all this about Duncan coming back? Asked Scarlory. Duncan? Duncan? Said Duncan. It's Sir Handel, you're saying? Sir Handel, did you say? Said Rusty. Yes, I did. The Fat Controller told me he's coming back this afternoon. Oh, how exciting is that? Said Scarlory bravely. Later that afternoon, Sir Handel came back. All the engines were there to greet him. Thomas pushed his truck onto the siding where he was lifted onto his rails. This was the chorus of the engines whistling. And all the engines were happy. And especially of all, Sir Handel was the happiest and bravest of all. You know, he said, you've been really kind to me. I know I have, said Rusty. And as for that, all the engines knew that their bravery and strength would save all the engines of courage. Rubbish.